I have so many juvenile comments I could make about this show just to capture your attention, and I'm trying so hard just not to do it. I mean, do you have any idea how hard it is not to say the word boner right now? Hi, I'm Rick Higgins. Welcome to Mastering Life After 50, 60 Plus, the podcast. And today, we're going to talk about a really sensitive subject. Now, I am not sure if there is a equivalent in the female world, but a man's inability to get and maintain an erection, well, it's actually worse than just not getting it up. Why? Because, besides the shame, besides the embarrassment, there's going to be another aftermath. At some point, you're going to know that your partner believes that it was their fault. All men are going to experience difficulties at some point, and some more than others. And sometimes it can become quite the routine occurrence. When that does, it is called erectile dysfunction, or ED. And it's an all too common condition. It's also one that virtually no man is ever going to admit to having, especially to other men, and even more especially, not to themselves. So this recurring struggle to produce a Hart Johnson, it's almost going to guarantee that you're going to have numerous opportunities for, utter and complete failure in the bedroom over and over and over again, because you won't admit that there's a problem. Now, ladies or men who have not gone through this, the experience of male sexual failure, it's excruciatingly painful. It robs you of every ounce of yourself, your humanity, your masculinity. But just when you think it can't get worse, and you sort of look at her or him, as the case may be, and say, I'm sorry, this never happens. There's this pause, and they say, it's me, isn't it? And that's when we discover that there's an even deeper level of hell than where we are right now. Now, ladies, and like I say, whoever else your partner might be, I'm not saying that you shouldn't ask the question, is it me? I'm saying that you probably shouldn't feel it, because the answer is no. It's not your fault. You are indeed attractive enough. We desire you. We want to be with you. It's the reason we're laying here in bed naked together. But there's a physical problem. No more different than if, your guy is colorblind. So, if you hand him a red rose and he can't see the red, do you blame yourself because he can't see the rose that you just tried to give him? It's a physical deficiency, and there is nothing you can do. There is no amount of sexying up that you can possibly achieve that is going to overcome a physical limitation. Now, as far as that physical side, I gotta say, it's good to live in these times. Big Pharma, they've made it pretty much so that the medical community has stopped trying to find out why these things happen. But we do have cures. Well, at least we have some temporary cures. And for that, I want to kind of describe a couple of the major players that are involved, and that would be Viagra and Cialis. Now, I'll get into a little bit about what those are, but I want to tell you how they work, because they both kind of work the same way, and it kind of surprised me when I found out. Now, picture an inner tube inside of you with a valve. And see, the problem you've got is not that you can't get it up. It's that your body's actually working too well. It's not that it's not working well enough. Now, blood rushes into this inner tube, and this little valve kind of keeps the blood from rushing out. That's what gives you an erection. When you're all done, there are these chemical messengers in your body that tell the valve to open up, let the blood flow back, and you go about your merry way. You got too much of that messenger. It's just, the second the blood starts going into your inner tube, it's just screaming, let it out, let it out, let it out. So no matter how much you pump in there, there's just this giant gaping open valve that's just letting it all flow out. Now that's what Viagra and Cialis do, is they get in the way of that messenger. So that messenger is looking for these certain things to scream into to tell it to stop. Well, that's kind of what Viagra and Cialis look like to it. So they connect to a Cialis molecule and start yelling, let the blood out, let the blood out. And, well, it's not talking to the right valve. And so because you have less of these messengers screaming, your inner tube works the way it is supposed to work. Now, that's how both of those products get you to your end result. But we were talking a little bit in the beginning about embarrassing and being emasculating. And, honestly, it shouldn't. Guys, if this is something that is affecting you, you got to think of it this way. Let's say you had high blood pressure, and every day you took a pill to control it. Now, you're at the golf course, the bar, somewhere with your buddies, and a topic of blood pressure comes up. Are you going to hesitate to mention that you're on a daily pill? Are you going to blush? Are you going to be embarrassed? Are you going to try to steer the conversation towards the Steelers or the Redskins? No, you are not, because you got a problem and you got a pill that can fix it. Well, guess what, my friends? If you got ED, you got a problem and you got a pill that can fix it. So it's no different, absolutely no different than any other malady you take or take a pill to set aside. Now, having said that, yeah, I'm embarrassed. I've got ED. I've had it for quite a long time. I've had it since my 30s, back before we even had these fine products. And when it first started, I was trying Viagra. And got my prescription. I went to the pharmacist, and it was so new, the pharmacist had questions for me, and I am embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to talk to a pharmacist who's filling my frickin' prescription. I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to change the subject. I want to ask him what aisle, the Kleenex are in, because I didn't want to talk to a medical professional because I was going to have to admit that I had a problem. And it wasn't until recently that I admitted it to really anyone. I mean, obviously, you have a new partner, you tell them, maybe. But I had a YouTube video that came out earlier this year, and I admitted it to everyone. I've got ED. I've got erectile dysfunction. There's a part of my body that doesn't work quite right. But I've also got thinning hair, and I need to wear reading glasses now. It's just a physical issue. I still feel it. I can still feel that discussion with the pharmacist. I can still feel the embarrassment a little bit because, there is something about men and the way they feel about certain parts of their body. Now, there was one thing when I did start taking Cialis, and yes, that is, again, the one that I take. I was worried that, how some drugs kind of can build up a tolerance. So, if you took 1 milligram, well, maybe a couple months from now, one doesn't work and you got to take 2 and you got to take 3. I have been doing Cialis for many, many years now, and the dose that I started with is still the dose that I need. I don't seem to have any of that, tolerance build up. It still works. Quite well. The only thing that's really changed has been the side effects. Now, one of the things about Cialis, at least back in the early days, was it gave you one hell of a lower backache. Not pain, it's hard to describe. I assume it kind of feels like childbirth in your lower back, but I have no idea what that means. Sorry, ladies, if that was an offensive statement. But it aches. It really, really aches. It's obviously worth it to have sex, but Motrin takes care of it. And I don't know if something has changed within me, but all of a sudden, the past couple of years, I don't get that anymore. So, yeah, at least the side effects kind of go away. I'm hoping that maybe they just reformulated it to get rid of that. Now, there is something that is still going on, costs. Yes, Viagra is generic now, and there's a lot of other companies coming up with it, but we're still paying American prices because you and I living in this country, we put up with a Congress who cares more about big pharma than they care about us, and we keep electing these idiot officials back in, so we pay the highest pharmacy cost of pretty much anywhere in the frickin' world. Now, I'm going to give you a little story way back in the day when I first started this. My insurance company, I believe it was Aetna, they used to cover this. They would give me 6 pills a day. 6 pills a month. 6 pills a day would have been great. No, they decided that I was allowed to have sex 6 times a month, and that was it. And so, you do what you have to. But one day I went in to get it filled, and all of a sudden Aetna just decided to stop paying for it. And the pharmacy wanted to charge me $50 a pill. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, $50 to have sex with my wife. They somehow decided that prostitute prices were kind of more of the foreplay thing that we needed to happen in our relationship. There are ways around this. Now, like I say, Congress has enacted a whole lot of laws that really prevent you from getting your drugs from overseas, elsewhere, Canada. Yeah, it's illegal. And yeah, I'm paying $1.25 a pill. And no, I am not getting it from a U.S. pharmacy. I'm not going into any more details here because some peace officer or Congress or somebody is just going to decide that Big Pharma needs to have their stock prices go up and is going to come after me. But, there are ways around it. The problem, though, is cost. A blood pressure pill doesn't cost that much. These things are still damn expensive. Now, the bottom line is, let's just kind of skip right to it. Yeah, this is a medical condition. And I'm still semi-nervous talking about it. And I'm also kind of happy that my podcast listeners are still on the small side. But thank you, my one person, for listening, I guess. Anyway, we do have the power to control and be sexually healthy again. And that's important. Health comes in all forms. It's not just whether your heart is pumping right or you're eating the right food or you're mentally stable-ish. Sexual health, social health, all this health kind of puts you together to be the person you need to be. So if there's something wrong with it, then get it fixed. There's no need to be embarrassed. Nothing needs to be embarrassed at all. So with that, I hope you stay healthy and happy. And if you do have this problem, go see your doctor, get your pills. Trust me, life's going to be a whole lot better for it. We'll talk to you soon.